Runaway ramps. Don't be a victim of a runaway ramp. But if you do need to take one, then I'm going to talk about the three different types and what might happen to you if you have to take that runaway ramp. Because at the end of the day, do we want to kill somebody or do we want to just hit that runaway ramp and hopefully save some lives, you know, including our life?
Twisted.
Feel free to add me on your application as the driver who referred you. You will click yes and then type in COXDJO. So I think that anybody can fall victim to this runaway ramp situation. You got your experienced drivers that are like, man, I got this. I'm overconfident. And they're like, I'm going to go a little bit faster down this mountain because I can handle it. You know, that's going to cause you major issues and probably going to end up having to use a runaway ramp or escape ramp. Inexperienced people that are new to trucking that maybe hasn't had too much experience going down a mountain or a nice grade or too fast around a curb. You know, you got your inexperience, and then you have not checking your brakes. So the people that did not even check their brakes, didn't even make sure that their freaking vehicle was safe. You know, that happens. You know, these runaway ramps are they're indicated by big signs usually that say truck runaway ramp, or their truck runaway lane. I mean, there's something that's indicating that, hey, I need to get over and take this ramp. Usually they're on the right side of the road. I've seen them in the middle of the highway. You know, they're marked for the most part, and you know, they need to be marked because you have to be able to take that ramp. You know, some of the issues that cause you to have to take the runaway ramp is, one, you're going too fast. So you're going too fast and you're not able to slow down because guess what? Your brakes are now heating up. They're getting spongy. They're not working no more. And that's because you let it gain too much speed in the first place. Maybe you weren't thinking about how much weight was on the back of that trailer or inside that trailer, causing you to gain the momentum going down the mountain, and you can't stop it. You know, that's a lot about speed management right there. It's about the braking technique of slowing down, like finding you a safe speed, maintaining underneath that safe speed. So if my safe speed was 55 miles per hour, then I'm going to stay at 50. So as soon as it gets up to my safe speed, 55, I'm going to use that nice firm press and slow that truck down to 50. And then whenever it gains up to 55 again, I'm going to repeat the process. Now, also, you could not have checked your brakes. Your friction material might be wearing real thin, and that's going to cause you an issue right there. Not having enough friction material going down the hill, not properly maintaining your slack adjuster and push rod. And I know we got the self-adjusting ones, but sometimes they need to be checked also. Make sure that your truck's in good working shape. Make sure that you're at a company with newer equipment too. A lot of these older trucks, they might not have adjusting slack adjusters. Know what you're driving. So, you know, the first runaway ramp I'm going to talk about is the one where it just, I mean, we see them, and it's the big ramp cut into the mountains right here, and they clear a path, and it's a straight shot up, and you're gonna hang on and you're gonna ride it up, and hopefully you don't jump over the other side of it. But you know, they're designed, they have some engineers that design them where they know that your truck is not going to shoot over the other side. They just clear a path. It's going to be a bumpy heck of a ride, and you're going to come to a stop finally, and hopefully you're not hurt or anything like that. I mean, you know, it's just an uphill cut path in the forest. It's going to be, it's not going to be fun. I'll tell you that. The next one is kind of like a gravel pit. So what they'll do is they'll cut a big pit into the ground, and they'll fill it up with like gravel or sand. And what's going to happen to you is when you hit that pit, you're going to go straight into it, and it's going to sink the truck into it, and it's going to be kind of slowing you down, taking your momentum by all that sand underneath the truck or gravel or whatever. It's going to slow you down. It's about all that friction stuff in there, like material and gravel. And then the last one is the cables. And I've seen some of these around Utah. I believe it was in Utah that I seen them. And I was all like, Oh, I never want to go into that because it's rows and rows and rows of these cables, and the truck hits it. The cable wraps around the front of the truck, and there's another row and another row, and it looks like one of those rubber bands. Like you hit it, and it stops you, and then you're just waiting for it to shoot the truck out the other side. Now it's not going to shoot the truck out the other side. It's just going to slow down the momentum of the truck and bring you to a stop. Now, it's hard to tell when you need to actually take this escape ramp or whenever you're all like, you know what, I don't need to take it. You know, that's a personal decision. In the situation, I'm kind of going to go with, like, if I feel like I need it, I'm going to take it. And I've almost taken one before. I'm about to tell you about that after this. But what you want to kind of do is you want to keep yourself calm, and I know it's going to be hard to do. Your blood's pumping, like you're all like, you might see your brakes smoking, your truck might have turned off because of mechanical failure, you know, whatever the case may be. Something's going on with your vehicle that you're going to have to go into this ramp. And you know, I'd rather see you go into this ramp and not plow through some cars and put people in danger and yourself in danger. Hopefully, like, you going into this ramp will slow down the truck enough, stop you, everybody will be safe. You're going to keep yourself calm. Hopefully you're wearing a seatbelt, because the momentum of the truck getting slowed down from an excessive speed is going to probably jolt you really hard forwards. I don't want to see nobody like go out the windshield or get seriously hurt because they weren't wearing a seatbelt. We should be wearing our seatbelts, period. You know, I'm big on wearing your seatbelt. It's going to be a really hard stop, like I said. Now, some of the stuff that you might run into, because I know you're thinking about fines, stuff like that. So you're going to have a toll bill to get you out of there. You ain't getting yourself out there, and there's going to be a lot of damage to the truck. But at the end of the day, are we safe? Did we hurt anyone? That's the goal there is, are we safe and did we hurt anyone? So you're going to have, your truck's going to be destroyed, of course. You know, you're going to probably get some fines, some tickets. You're probably going to have to pay for repairs to the ramps. So, like, take the gravel one. You're going to throw that gravel all over the place. They're going to have to come and regrade it, fix it all up. Up the mountain, you're probably going to leave some tracks in there. They might have to grade that or, you know, fix that. The steel cables, they're definitely going to have to do some work on those. I don't know how much work, but those are some really nice cables. I would not want to pay for messing them up, and I think those are going to really tear up a truck. In my opinion, the steel cables are going to do the most damage. The least amount of damage, in my opinion, is going to be the gravel. I watched a lot of videos today on the gravel one, and when the trucks went in there, that one looked to be the safest and the best, in my opinion. Then there's going to be a DOT investigation. So the DOT is going to investigate it, see why it happened, what was wrong with your truck, were you at fault, you know, what was going on with this whole problem. Now, these ramps are, and these runaway lanes and ramps, they're at locations that they had major accidents or numerous numbers of accidents. So, like, they know that there's a big chance that somebody's going to need an escape ramp or an escape lane in these situations. So one time I was in North Carolina, and some of y'all been down there on the 40. You know, I was over there on the 40. I was going up Black Mountain. Everything was going good. And then on the way down Black Mountain, for some reason, my coolant line popped off, and I guess the pressure change, whatever. Also, what Freightliner told me is that it was supposed to have a clip on it to clip it on, and it never had one. And we were driving this truck. You know, we were a team truck driving this truck for probably, I don't even know, probably like 30,000 miles and no problems, no issues. But this time I was out solo going down Black Mountain, and it popped off, and I didn't know it popped off because I didn't see no coolant or nothing. I'm going down the mountain. The speed limit's 35. At the top of it, you take a ramp, you stop. It has a light on it, and it's to help you maintain that 35 miles per hour to go down it. So my safe speed was 35, but I was doing 30. I was keeping it at 30. Every time it would go up to 35, I slow it back down. Normal road conditions. It wasn't bad. There wasn't no ice or none of that stuff. I'm going down the mountain, and my truck goes, It says something about coolant. I barely caught a glimpse of it, and the truck turned off. And I was like, what? So I'm getting to the shoulder, first thing. I'm getting to the shoulder, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm all like, are my brakes gonna work? I know they're gonna work. They're not electronic brakes, but in my mind, I was like, oh, I hope my brakes work. Like, I was nervous. So I'm trying to get it slowed down, and 35 miles an hour doesn't seem bad to slow it down. I was heavy. I was at like 78,000 pounds total for my whole vehicle, and like I was heavy, and I was slowing it down, and I saw the escape ramp, and I was all like, you know what? I'm just gonna go in there. That's where I'm gonna aim. So I aimed for that escape ramp. Luckily, I got the truck stopped before it went into it. I did manage to get the truck stopped before I went into it, but I set the brakes, finally got it stopped, set the brakes, got out the truck. And whenever I went in front of my truck, I was standing in the gravel. And I was like, wow, that was super close. Popped the hood open. Didn't have much coolant in it. I looked underneath, no leaks. I hit up road assist. I said, hey, look, my truck was low on coolant. I filled it back up. Should I continue on? Because I filled it back up and it'll start again. I said, this is what happened. It was kind of scary. And they're all like, well, try go down the mountain some, see what happens. If you feel like it's unsafe, pull over and we'll figure out something else. I said, okay. I continue on. Almost to the bottom of it, the truck shuts off again. Luckily, it was already coming out of the grade, so it wasn't nothing major. I slowed down, pulled over, and didn't have no more coolant. Hit up road assist. They said, you're going to have to fill it up with water. That's all we can tell you to do to get it to the shop. And I was like, cool. So I made my first delivery that day. I filled that sucker up with water. I know everyone's like, oh, that is bad. But, I had to do something. Like, it wasn't driving if it didn't have nothing in there. Filled it up with water, got my delivery done. They wanted me to go to the 90. I was all like, I ain't making it to the 90. I'm telling you right now, I'm tired of this. This truck's going to the shop. So I got it in the shop, and they filled it up with coolant and everything. And they're all like, we can't find a leak. We're going to watch it for a while. Sure enough, a little while later, they saw that it was real low. But remember, this coolant's not leaking underneath the truck. What was happening is it was ending up in the fender. So they took off the side step on the passenger side, and they found it all in there, and it started going everywhere. They found a leak, a drip at the very back of the truck, and that's whenever they decided to take off that side step. I mean, just a fluke way of the fluid going out, but, they ended up finding it. Now, the scary thing was the truck shut off going down the mountain, and I almost had to use an escape ramp, but I'd rather have went into that escape ramp than piling down the road trying to be, hey, I'm not going to use an escape ramp. I'm just going to man up. No. You don't want to man up in this situation. You want to do what's safe. And if that's hitting that escape ramp and stopping that truck, then that's what needs to be done. I hope that this video informed you a little bit on runaway ramps, and I hope that you all got a good idea on making a plan on what to do in that situation. Like, comment, and subscribe, and remember, knowledge is power. Add me as a referral to your application. Click yes, and then type in COXDJO.
Make sure you click the next video right there.